Welcome to the Happy Humanoid's Perspective, where your beliefs are challenged, thoughts provoked, and where you may find your happy place whether you like it or not.
And here are your hosts, Edith and Miles. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Welcome everyone to our show. My name is Miles.
And my name is Edith.
Yay! There she is.
And we are both Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator.
Yes, we are. And welcome to episode number 16. Today's topic is closing the back door and opening up to more of you. That's quite an interesting topic. What does that mean? I wonder.
Yeah, what is a backdoor?
Yeah. So, by the way, if you have any questions or comments, you can just type them in the box on your right-hand bottom corner, and we'll try to get to them for the show today. So, backdoor. It's like it's like an excuse to get out of something. I think a backdoor is like a way to not follow through and not be committed to yourself. So we'll get into more about how mysteriously we get into backdoors and leave them.
Yeah, backdoor is like a way, it seems like you look for a way to get out instead of to look for a way to get in something. Yeah. And the back door is like a fallback position. You know, this is the place where you always go when something happened. Instead of facing the challenge and ask questions and move forward with your life, you go back in that space where there's comfort, where sometimes it can be a new utopian ideal, where you believe that you concluded that that's the way it's supposed to be, and this is where we go. This is some kind of a way to protect what you think it should be.
I'm going to close the door. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, and it's about, it's a solution. A fallback position, it's a solution to, as I said, the utopian ideal that you have bought when it doesn't work, which means that something doesn't work. If I look at myself in my past life, interesting, in this lifetime.
In your past life, that's probably also accurate.
Yeah, too. When I was in a relationship with a man and it didn't work out the way I wanted, or instead of trying to move forward with the relationship, I was leaving. That was my way I was leaving. And I did that. That was like, I built.
Sayonara, baby.
The what?
Sayonara, baby. Hasta la vista, baby. That was your tagline?
Well, no, not so much. No, at that time was not so fun. That was more like a drama. And yes, that was, for me, that was my way to deal with relationship. And I've been, sorry, Miles, I will say it again. I've been living alone for
19 years.
Well, 19 years, 11 months.
11 months and some odd days.
7 days, I believe.
7 days, that's right. That's the magic number.
Yes. And during these years, I've been in a relationship with a few men. And then I realized after the 17th year, I said, okay, what is it with me? Because I was meeting a man, and well, there was this thing too that I knew what was, I could perceive what would be the relationship, where we would go, and at the same time, there is something of me that I didn't deal with in this. By saying no, there is something where I was not looking at until I said, okay, now I really desire to, because I was attracted to the same kind of men too. So I said, there's something for me in this. So I chose to say, okay, next time I meet someone, I'm going to go in this relationship in consciousness, and I will clear whatever is in me that keep me being attracted to these men. So I begin, instead of going back to this fallback position to say no, I said, I'll try it, and I will try the challenge. And I knew, and we knew, the guy knew too, that it would not, that was not the kind of relationship for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we found each of us some kind of benefit for it. And I looked at myself during this relationship, if I can call this a relationship. Yeah, that was a relationship. An agreement we had, I could say. And I began to uncreate and destroy all the emotion, all the energy that was in me, that kept me being attracted to these men, to a certain kind of man. And that's how after that I met you.
Mm-hmm. Lucky me.
Yeah.
So like another example of like not closing your back door, having a back door available, is like it's like having one foot in and one foot out. You're not really committed to one thing or the other. It's like there's, well, those of you who have cats, or actually who cats own you, you'll know that if a cat like meows and meows, like I had a cat where it was a cat many years ago, and he would meow at the door, and I'd open the door, and then the cat would just sit there. You'd be right on the threshold, not going in, not going out. The door would be open, and the cat would just like wait to go in and go out. And it's like, no, it's not. He's not doing nothing. So it's like either get out or get in. And it's like the universe is also offering us the possibility. Once we close the door, the universe supports us. So in what areas of your life are you like a cat standing in the middle of in or out, of choosing? And everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate all that times a gazillion?
Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, bows and beyonds.
So it doesn't really, like when we don't commit to something, it doesn't give us a chance to even see what it is. It's like this idea of sort of living in the fantasy. It's like I am aware of this in my life, how I'm in love with the idea of doing something. I'm in love with the idea, like I was in love with the idea of being a martial art master or something like that. But I wasn't necessarily willing to do the training, to take all the bruises and do all the fighting and all the rigorous workout and abusing my body in certain ways, that my point of view of what I needed to do to be a master or even just an elite practitioner of martial arts. So it's like there's this idea of being in love with the idea of something. It's like I see this a lot in myself, and maybe it isn't a bad thing. You know, I'm in love with something, instead of having to go and do it, I can just like be in love with it, and that's fine. But something that you may desire in your life, that you are more in love with the idea of it than actually being or having that. So what happens is, if we have the back door open, it's like a vacuum. That's where our energy is. That's what's sucking our energy, and that's where we'll eventually go. It's like, even though our attention might be in the relationship, in the business, in the project, or in whatever it is that you desire to do, if that back door is open, it's pulling our energy to leave. And that's constant. It's a constant pulling of energy. And until we close that door, the vacuum is always going to be there, always going to be pulling on us, encouraging us to go outside and listen to the music outside, or there's something outside that's going on. Let's go out and check it out. Let's just leave this situation and go. Now, it's not the same as committing to a relationship and something that doesn't work for you and just staying with it because it's not working. Well, I've committed myself, so therefore, no, you're asking questions. You go, what's required here? What is it that I desire? Does this relationship work for me? And what else is possible? So asking questions about where you are in the situation is one way to move forward, and still have the door closed, and you still have options. You can go out a window, for example, or something. You still have options to change the course of your decisions or your choices previously.
Yeah, in A backdoor is like when we function from our backdoor, we can never create something new.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about creating the same thing again and again. Yeah, as I am the example of me where I've been alone for almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the same pattern with myself, and yeah, when we function from that space, we cannot create anything new. So everywhere you believe that by choosing your back door is a way for you to create your life and
Mm-hmm.
to create better quality of life, well, you know, and create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. You know, Gary talks about the back door can be like anything. It can be wherever that you, like he spoke of it about money can be your back door. It's like almost like giving up. It's like residing to a life of, what's that Thoreau saying? He says, masses of men live a life of quiet desperation. That's like a back door. It's like it's not choosing your life. It's not choosing what you desire. It's more about, so money could be like, for example, like I started to say, money as a back door. It's like if you're willing to like, well, I can do without that. I don't need to work that hard. I'm okay. I've done this for so many years. I can manage. I'm managing. But that's not really creating your life. That's just managing. That's just, you're like right on the threshold. You're not in, you're not out. You're just sort of like maintaining your life, or I'm maintaining my life, or whatever. There's different examples. So that's what it is. And once you choose to close that door or not have a back door, then the universe supports you. That's when there's just shift happens and things begin to move. Like I have a buddy of mine who he dated this girl. I actually lived with her for like 12 years and would never get married. He just had, I'm not saying that marriage is the thing, but for him, it was like he was resisting getting married. He was living with her for 12 years and he finally got married, and the energy shift in him was dynamic. I could see that. It was just so clear. It was just like, just the idea of him not resisting, him committing to this woman or committing to himself in this relationship. It changed for him. It was just like, I was like, wow, that was, you know, amazing to me. And that's just the idea of closing the back door. That's another example of once you close the back door, that's choosing consciousness. That's an action that you take to move forward, even though what may be ahead may be challenging and you may not see results right away. It may be a year or two or whatever, but once you close the back door, the support is going to be there for you to move forward with whatever you desire. You know, if it's the work you don't like that you're doing now, or a relationship you'd like to improve, or some idea you have about something that you want to do, where is it that what is it that you're choosing that has you living a life of quiet desperation? What is it that you're choosing that you're relying on that back door to be there, to not create your life? So everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate at all times a godzillion?
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. And this back door, is it really how you desire to live your life? To allow to be in a position where you always have to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Protect yourself from what? What is it? So everywhere you believe in the lie of protection, well, you know, and create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So I got some clearings too, unless you have another thought there you want to go with.
Well, Gina says, can you say more about closing the back door with money?
Yeah, it's like having like, for example, money. It's using money as a back door. It's like instead of having the money that you desire to create your life, to do what you desire, to have an abundant life, to have like really to have all that you want, that requires money. It's like saying, well, you know, I don't know, I just I'm okay. It's all right. Don't, you know, it's like universe, that's okay. I don't really I can live without it, you know. So it's like it's almost resigning to having this life of this sort of like neutral, sort of not creating your life in a way that, you know, we all create our life, and how can we create our life in a more dynamic way? And by choosing something more dynamic with money, let's say, like money could be like the back door, meaning that, oh, that's, you know, I only make so much money. This is just the way it is for me. You know, my family's always been this way. This is what I've always, you know, cancel clear all that. Then that's sort of like a back door. That's almost like an excuse or a way of functioning that doesn't, instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna create whatever it takes. I'm gonna do whatever it takes today to have the money that I desire. I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna do it right now. You know, if I have to knock on 50 doors every day and tell them what it is that I'm doing to get people in my office, or you're selling widgets or whatever it is, okay, what's it require of me today that really to get what I desire? And I think some of that is really having a clear vision of what it is that you want to do with your life, because it's as humanoids, you know, if we don't have a lot of things going on, humanoids are like, well, let's just say most people listening to the show are probably humanoids. If they don't have a lot going on in their life, then they're more susceptible to going crazy and getting bored, because it's like, it's also having something so interesting that keeps us motivated. So having 4 or 5 different things going on at once is going to keep us not focusing on one thing and getting sort of caught up in doing one thing, but having lots of things to do and having things that you like to do. So, yeah. So, do you have something, or I can read some processes?
Yeah,
or?
you can go.
Okay, so what stupidity are you choosing that keeps the back door open for you to leave you whenever you choose? And everything that is, we destroy uncreated all times Godzillion.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all 9 shorts, bows and beyonds.
What have you made so vital about loving an idea more than having and being you that keeps you 1 foot in and 1 foot out? And everything that is, will you destroy and uncreated all times Godzillion.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all 9 shorts, bows and beyonds.
I got one more here. Everywhere you have made choosing a valuable, rare, precious, and significant commodity that you must hold it tight and never use, will you destroy and uncreate at all times a Godzillion.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all 9 shorts, bows and beyonds.
Because there seems to be like this idea that we only have a limited number of choices, a limited number of, we can only use so many of these tokens that are called choices, and we want to make the right choice. We don't want to do it wrong. We want to make the right choice. And, you know, it's not about that. There's unlimited possibilities, and it's really, we can choose again in 10 seconds if, okay, I made this choice to do this. Oh, that didn't really work out so well. I didn't really like that. What else is possible? And then choose again. So it's like this idea of like, the back door also represents like a limited possibility of choices. It's like, well, I can either be in this business or be in this relationship or not, or I can like choose to be a certain thing that I want to do or not. But no, it's like you can choose that and then close the back door or eliminate the back door and see how it is, and then go from there. Maybe it doesn't work for you. Maybe it wasn't what you expected. Choose something else. So it's a process of elimination too. You know, it's the wonderful thing about choices is there's unlimited choices.
Mm-hmm. And having a fallback position or a back door, keeping a back door open, it's a way to pretend that you don't have any power.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you are someone in a relationship who give up yourself in a relationship, and the best way for you to be back with yourself is to leave the relationship. Yeah, what would it take for you to allow yourself to be present to yourself in a relationship? That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
When we close all these back doors and all these fallback positions, we choose to be present with ourselves, and we have the possibility to ask questions to the universe, to ask questions to consciousness, to, instead of trying to function from the mind, the mental, it's about asking questions to create more. Because when we try to function from our judgment, our conclusion, our decision, our computation, we live in a finite world, and we keep ourselves finite, and we always live the same thing over and over again. If your life is, you have the feeling, you have this idea, this sensation that your life is always the same, maybe you live your life from your mental instead of asking question and following the likeness about the question that you ask. Yeah, oh, okay, oh, and everything that is brought up here. Well, and create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And this is where, when we ask the questions to the universe and we follow the awarenesses that we receive, we create more.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And this is where we can have more of us. We can have access. That's what we hear so much in Access. I never thought my life would be as it is right now. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we hear that often. I never thought that I would be in a relationship like this. Well, for me, I never, as much as I wanted to be in a relationship, I never thought that it would be that kind of relationship where, why? Because when we ask questions to the universe offers us, well, the universe doesn't have a mind, doesn't have a mental, doesn't have this conclusion, this decision, this judgment, because it functions from infinite possibilities. And when we open up, when we ask a question, we open up, this is where we can receive so much more than when we function from our mind and our mental.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so when we close, we choose to stop reacting. Because when we have a backdoor, we are in reaction. We try to align and agree with an idea, an ideal that we have. And yeah. So it's about asking yourself this idea that you have. If I continue to live my life from that idea, with this idea, what will my life be in 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And see, and look and perceive the energy that it will be created. If it creates more, go for it. But if it doesn't, maybe it's time to close this door.
Mm-hmm. Make another choice.
Yeah, make another choice.
Kind of goes back to what we were doing last week about trying to change something versus choosing something different. Making changes within the situation while the back door is still open, trying to change everything, and still the energy is still going out the back door, instead of closing the door and making another choice. That's another example of how we can choose differently.
Yeah, and in my relationship with Mal, that's what I was telling him before the show. Yes, I still have this reflex. Well, it's there to ask the question, okay, if I leave the relationship, what will my life be in 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And it creates so much less than staying in it. But before, I didn't use these questions. And, well, maybe that would have been the same thing. I don't know. It's not, yeah.
Yeah, it's different. Like what you're doing is asking the questions. It's not though you have the back door open that you're questioning the relationship.
Yeah.
You're just continuing to ask questions, even though it's not there.
Yeah, it's true.
It's you're moving forward and making choices every 10 seconds. So
yeah. But, and it's so, for me, it's a relief to ask questions instead of going back in my way of thinking of the past, or going back in my pattern that I had with myself. By asking questions, it brings me to move on, to move forward in my life, and to create more with me, with my life, with my business. And there's some kind of movement in this, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, don't we have
a commercial?
A commercial?
Yes, let's hear from my sponsors.
Yeah.
Are you tired of not losing the weight that seems to hang on for lifetimes? Does the idea of walking on a treadmill make you tired? Introducing Exorcism Exercises, the ancient art of aerobic exorcism. In this exciting DVD series, you will learn to spin, shake, twirl on the floor, and hang from the ceiling. Not only will you reduce your weight, you can also say goodbye to those demons, ghosts, and entities permeating your fat cells. If you are not afraid of windows slamming shut, high winds inside your home, or levitating furniture, this program could be for you. Sweat out those unwanted guests in your body and relax in your own perspiration and vomit as you have the sense of euphoric lightness. Using exorcism exercises may result in loss of weight, friends, social status, credibility. Excessive use of exorcism exercises may also result in lowering property value, personal property damage. Use at your own risk. Exorcism Exercises, the fitness series that uses demons to help you lose weight. Look for it now in the dark corners of the world.
Thank you, sponsors. They're such great sponsors. I really don't know where they come from, but we're happy to have them.
Yeah.
Keep our show going. So one of the tools, I guess, is follow through, like with using, like being stuck and not knowing where to go with, like having back doors or not knowing how to move forward. It's like it's following through. It's like, how can you follow through with an idea or something that you want to do? And a lot, that can be just the same what we said before, is just having more than one thing to do. You know, it's and once you follow through, that's when the universe has your back. That's choosing consciousness, and the more that you choose consciousness, the more that shows up for you, and the more that the universe will deliver for you.
Yeah. And if you're not sure about, okay, is it, as I said before, if you're not sure about if it's, okay, is it a fallback position here? Is it a back door that I am using here? It's about, okay, if I make this choice, what will my life be in 5 years? And if I don't make this choice, what will my life be in 5 years? And look at this to see what it will create.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's about, of course, asking questions. That could be something like, what else is possible here?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of choosing this fallback position, what else is possible? How does it get any better than this? What are the other possibilities here that I never thought and I never could have ever imagined? That could be asking that kind of question about something instead of choosing the same thing that you know you're going to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, of course, on create and destroy all the, all the decision, judgment, computation, and conclusion that you made that create this backdoor, and create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds.
Yeah, and it's about this willingness to be you.
Mm-hmm.
This willingness, no matter if people like it, no matter if people judge you, it's about choosing you, choosing whatever is light for you, choosing whatever is, even if it creates people around you. As I said, some judgment. It's about creating that, and it's about choosing whatever will create more for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about choosing against the other, or if you're in a relationship, it's not about choosing and excluding the other person. It's about including you and including everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do this, when we ask questions and we follow the energy of whatever is light, that create more possibility, more choices for people around us.
Yeah.
And I can say that in our relationship, Miles, you learned me this by your way of being with me, by including me, and by allowing me to choose for me.
And crapping the whip too. Yeah. Don't forget that part.
Shh.
Oh, whips.
It creates, and we can sense it in the energy. I can sense it when people can sense it when we include them, and when we choose whatever will create more for us and for others as well. It creates more expansion in our life and in their life as well. So yeah, that's another thing. When we stop behaving or choosing from our fallback position or our back doors, we create more for us and for others around us. Is it what you desire in your life?
Yeah. And so maybe ask this week, what are your back doors? What do you use as a crutch to not create your life? You know, what are the subtleties that you may not acknowledge, but just ask you, what are my back doors that I'm using to not create my life? and to
Mhm.
block consciousness and awareness.
Yeah, and it's about backdoors, about limiting ourselves. So where do I limit myself in my life? And I would not choose something greater for what reason?
Hmm.
And uncreate and destroy all that too. So
Yep.
yeah.
So next week, we have another show. Sensitivities, environmental, people, resistance to receiving. So we're going to explore the differences of sensitivity and dive in deep. Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for joining us today, and we will see
Yeah.
you next week.
Thank
Same
you.
time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for
Bye.
listening, and please give us a honk of support by subscribing, commenting, and sharing the show with your friends. Or, if you didn't like the show, please share it with your enemies.
Thanks for coming. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.